we're live on the internet. Things are getting personal here behind the scenes. We're talking about Dr. Moms. We're talking about yelling at the stage during concerts. I'm not talking about yelling at my mom, but yeah, it's getting.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day, Rich.
I know. I know. I'm the worst. Happy Mother's Day. Congratulations, Dr. Mom.
Hey, yeah, my mom got her PhD. She's now Dr. Mom. Not joining the illustrious, the illustrious Mount Rushmore of, adjacent doctors that we know. Dr. Amanda Rabinowitz, Dr. Mom, Dr. Doom, the famous, I don't know.
Finish out the Mount Rushmore. Who's the fourth?
Why did I think Dr. Phil? Because that's really
okay. There we go. That's it. That's
all
the doctors we need.
That's all the doctors. Get rid of all the rest of the doctors. No, you know what? You know who would finish out the Mount Rushmore? It would be the Doctor from Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, interesting. So not Doctor Who. You're talking the
that was
hologram version played by Robert Picardo.
Yeah, wow, that was just
thank you, Mike. Thank you for that poll. Yeah, look, Doctor Who can get fucked, but
I think that I'm with
Troy.
on
No.
that.
I'm here to defend
Kevin's not
the
here.
Hue.
I can say whatever.
No.
I want.
I am here to defend. I'm here to defend the Hue. That's not okay. Doctor Who is amazing.
I mean, I like that we did omit the birthday girl herself, Dr. Melissa Woodward.
For real. What are we doing?
Not to mention her character,
also Doc. Doc
actually named.
No, neither one. They didn't make the cut. Sorry.
Wow.
I'll see myself
Dr.
out.
Doom
Good night,
made the cut.
Yeah. I go right to Doc Brown as one of my primary doctors. Also, Dr. Ruth.
He's your primary care physician.
Yeah, I'm very focused on Dr. Ruth. Very fascinatingly, Dr. Ruth's brother owned the farm that Taylor's family owns now. It used to be the Westheimer farm, and Dr. Ruth, this was like the big claim to fame in the 80s, was like, this is Dr. Ruth's brother's farm. And so now I realize it's like 40 years later, and I'm like, I have to explain to people, do you know Dr. Ruth? And they go, no. And I'm like, well, she was this tiny little German woman in the 80s.
Yeah, this tiny little Holocaust survivor who liked to talk about sex.
Yeah, it was very fascinating because she had this fascinating lifestyle, being a Holocaust survivor and a very atypical, sex positive therapist on television and a very repressed point in time, nonetheless.
Yeah, I definitely met her in high school. It was very hilarious. Yeah, good times.
Wow.
Dr. Ruth.
Yep.
Real classic.
Wow. Okay. Well, then, new Mount Rushmore.
Okay, great.
This is Saved by the Bell, the new class.
Mm-hmm.
New Mount Rushmore is Dr. Melissa Woodward, Doc, with Waffle, with Waffle, of course, Dr. Ruth, and I'm gonna go with Doc McStuffins.
Your own mom?
What?
It was not in lieu of.
Get out of here, mom. A
No,
stuffed sheep is taking your place.
No, it was Mount Rush even more.
We're expanding Mount Rushmore. Let's
That's right.
get some more
there's
people
Mount
up
Rush,
there.
there's Mount Rushmore, and then there's Mount Rush even more.
Considering some of the people we have had in the Oval Office, I'm actually very surprised there hasn't been like a formal project commission to add more heads onto Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
For real.
Well, now I got to Google that.
Oh no, I don't want to know.
You gotta wonder which one of those narcissists tried and didn't quite.
Yeah, dude, I don't mean to be. We don't need more like white men chiseled in stone. I'm sorry. We just don't.
You already have one right in front of you.
Right?
No, it's very fair. We prefer a digital medium over here.
I'm wearing a black t-shirt that covers
I feel outnumbered. Somebody help me.
Mount Rushmore. Troy, who built Mount Rushmore? Which president? I feel like I should know that, but like I definitely don't, nor do I care that much. But since we're talking about it.
I mean, I do need you to know that like it was not actually built by a president. It wasn't like, Teddy Roosevelt just like got off his horse and started
What?
to pull out a chisel.
Oh my God, I'm shattered.
I mean, Teddy Roosevelt could do some stuff. He really he wrestled bears. He did some things. But no, Mount Rushmore was actually sculpted by a guy whose first name is Gutzon.
Ooh,
wow.
Gutzon. I don't even know how you pronounce it. I just know it's spelled Gutzon, which I always thought was the weirdest. Hold on, let me see if I can find his last name. Gutzon Borglum.
Wow.
That sounds like a made-up D&D character
that
name.
sounds like you just threw a bunch of consonants onto a dish.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Gatsin Barklum.
I get
And
Sasha
I have
Marikovich
sculpted Mount
vibes. Yeah.
Rushmore.
I thought that it was built by aliens in a type of prophetic, like pre-American age. I didn't realize that Goodson built it, but yeah,
But
that's
you
cool.
thought it's like Stonehenge Part 2, where like, okay, we've gotten the
Yeah.
faces down this time.
Yeah, the like great leaders that, that are foretold. I don't know. I figured there was some Area 51 crossover energy there. Brenna's here. Hi, Brenna. Hello.
Brenna?
Well, now I need to know: was it commissioned by Teddy Roosevelt? Who was it? Who did it? Well, no, because he's on it.
Had
so
to
he
have been
didn't-
after that, right?
I think it was shortly after, because I think he was very recent in people's memories. I want to say it was probably like in the 1910s when this happened. Probably maybe 1920s.
Peter Norbeck, U.S. Senator from South Dakota, secured the funding for it. Construction began in 1927.
Okay. there
Oh,
you go.
well, they had about a year before things went kaput, so hopefully they
Yeah,
get it relatively done.
Yeah. Got a little
It
complicated.
went kaput. Yeah. Wow. That's wild.
Wow, what a call. Watch Schmigadoon, everybody.
Yeah. Season 2.
Streaming on Apple TV Plus.
Oh my gosh, is Schmigadoon great? I've heard mixed things about Schmigadoon. I've heard people are completely bounced off it, probably because they don't like fun or music. And then I've heard that it's the best thing in the world.
Well, depends on what. So I liked season 2 more than season 1 because I really enjoy the musicals of the 60s and 70s a lot more. Your Pippins, your Chicago's, your Sweeney Todds. But there are people that I think like more of the really hokum, but like very fun and surprisingly deep stuff from the 1940s, which the first season was lampooning. So what I would say is, if you're a fan of musical theater, you would like at least one of the two seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you will usually have a preference for one over the other. Most people nowadays would probably prefer season 2 because it's ones that you're more familiar with. The golden age of musicals, I think, is an acquired taste for a lot of people. So that season 1 is really based on that. Season 2 is delightful, incredibly well done. Big fan.
Yeah, and most importantly, it is, people who are cast for their voices. That yes, there are famous faces in there, but like they all can sing, which is good. You don't have to suffer through a Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia or Russell Crowe in Les Mis, where someone's cast just to be a famous face but does not have a voice behind it. Like, it's all very well done.
Well, and thanks to you, I have now envisioned Pierce Brosnan in Les Mis, and that is a thing I like to get out of my brain.
Pierce Valjean, yeah, that's a little.
That's now bring me prisoner 24601.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I just recently rewatched Les Mis, and yeah, Russell Crowe is in that. Yep.
I remember like one of the first legitimate arguments I got in with somebody on the internet was that year.
This was after many illegitimate arguments, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a truly unfounded concept. No, but I remember like it was my first year, like post college, so like I was feeling like an adult. Like I was feeling like, okay, I can stand on my own 2 feet, and this guy's coming in being like, Russell Crowe, perfectly cast for the gravitas of Javert. And I'm like, but like he cannot sing in the musical. The conversation ends right there. It ends much like his life did, falling on that bridge and breaking his neck in one of the worst pieces of Foley I've ever heard in my life. That's where the buck stops. There's only so much acting Tom Hooper can evoke out of that block of wood. I'm sorry. But that was one of those moments where I felt like truly founded in my own identity and opinion at this very, malleable point in my life.
I love the idea of like an adult Mike Bloom ready to like roll in his sleeves up, like, all right, let me let you know something about Russell Crowe.
Exactly. No, I was a firebrand when it came to that. It was a little bit, I was a little bit of that post theater degree snob as well. So like the second somebody came in, it's like, I like this stuff. I'm like, pedestrian at best.
You fool.
Seems shallow and pedantic.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I'm not deeply disturbed by the fact that I've just found a picture of the original model of Mount Rushmore, and we were supposed to get like George Washington's entire upper torso, with like a
Whoa.
petticoat and buttons and an arm and hands.
Oh, an arm and
that's
hand.
a
I was
lot,
gonna say like,
dude.
so it's more like a bust, but if it has arms and hands as well.
Oh yeah, no, we're talking
it's
like
a torso.
That's
like
too
we
much.
might see the happy little trail down to the
They
Black
wanted
Forest,
to
like
see
the
him
Black
flexing
Hills.
with like the apple axe. Is that the deal? What's
I
going
mean,
on?
I'm gonna put a link into our chat. I can't. Maybe someone can figure out how to put it into the Twitch chat.
Oh,
But like,
jeepers.
this image is a little disturbing to like think of. Like none of the other like Lincoln gets a hand up to his collar.
Oh, interesting. So would it be at the same height, but they're just building more into the rock
Yes,
down?
that was
Okay.
the original plan, was to dig more. And the question is, why did they stop? I've not gotten to that point yet because I'm actually listening to Mike talk about his days in musical theater.
Yeah, do you think they started at the head and they just said, "Yeah, we're good. I don't think we need to keep going."
I'm imagining that they like started getting down to the neck, and then there was like a rock fall below, and it's like, well, we got nothing more.
Or they were walking.
plenty.
They worked in 1927. They're like, "Oh, stock market crash. This is all we can afford."
I think that's probably it. That's probably
Yeah, that feels like the much more realistic end to the great construction that was going on there. But yeah, it's very formidable. There's really like a whole lot of statue happening there. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna pretend to not be reading this and listening to whatever else we talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm not gonna look at the disturbing image because I'm already nervous and scared.
Yeah,
so-
let's get into more disturbing
what?
imagery.
Yeah.
You have to be nervous.
You got
about.
it. Your quota of dudes. So should we play the D&D? We left off
Yes.
at like the fun, disturbing spot. Yeah, let's pick it right back up where last we left our heroes. The lot of you having been racing across the stars, pursuing a ship named the Bluebell, a metamorphosizing ship, a mimic ship, as it were, crewed by doppelgangers, with Lux's parents on board, along with a handful of refugees from Homeworld, erstwhile runaways after the attack by Verdan the Undying. You managed to track the ship to Eston's Rest, making landfall in Greenwind, the port town on the large lakeside, a large forested world filled with huge mega flora animals and kind of all manner of disparate people, the trade port at the end of the galaxy, as it were. You guys pretty quickly found information confirming a doppelganger encampment on a nearby island, not very far as the Dragonfly flies. So with Reya at the helm, the group of you sailing over the forested landscape came up upon the wide lake that held this small island fortress that the doppelgangers called home. You airdropped out of the back of the ship, old Ben deploying his folding boat just in time for his life to be saved by Doc as the boat plummeted down to the water. The group of you rowing up to shore, you attacked the sentries on the roof of the building and were attacked in turn by mimics, which were masquerading as rocks on the lake shore. And after a frantic battle extending over onto the rooftop of the keep, Lux finds herself knocking 2 arrows, the oath of vengeance sworn on the necrotic bow, Kadras, the vengeance bow, fulfilling her to fire at Zivox, the doppelganger, whom you had met on Homeworld, seeking an audience with your patron Yavanna, driving 2 arrows into him, a massive amount of psychic damage on top of the piercing wounds of the arrows themselves. Zivox collapses, his kind of malleable doppelganger's form, the bluish black, muscled, sinewy body, the large, kind of featureless face and mirrored eyes, twisted in agony as he bleeds, dying on the rooftop. While your mom, Lux, a woman known as Faye, wearing all of her kind of accoutrements, all manner of sort of like packs and baubles and bags on her, amidst her multicolored kind of worn work clothes, came running out from one of the doors, racing to Zivox's side, to which she turns, looking to you, as she cradles the dead doppelganger in her arms and says, "What have you done?"
So, okay. I was in this like vengeance like state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Am I out of that now? or am I still like looking crazy?
Great question, Lux. As like this haze of red kind of fades from around you, I think that you just see like Zvox's form and the words of your mom kind of like echoing to you resonate inside the kind of like the red haze that you're peering through. You hear her voice, it pierces to you, and you like blink for a minute, like trying to like kind of like seize hold, looking down at the bow in your hand, at yet another arrow like knocked, pulled taut, ready to fire, as like the magic kind of loosens itself on you. But I think you do hear the voice of Kadra softly, slightly muffled, as it like murmurs from next to your hand, like, and now we are bound. As like you feel this like tension release from your body, the 3 days that you have been up straight of exhaustion like catching up with you, the emotional like weight of being reunited with your mother, as Faye like drops on her knees, her like bags and baubles, pouches kind of like jangling as she like lifts up the dying doppelganger in her hands, like, Zvox, Zvox. And I think that he just says, must find Meldrus. As like this last gasp of air escapes him. And he breathes his last, dying in Faye's arms.
How did the rest of the changelings react to this? Because there are several more on the battlements, right?
Yes, you, Adam, are on like the western parapet, where like an explosion has gone off. One of the powder kegs having a torch dropped on it. The whole like roof is blasted open. As you peer down through like the blown out stones of the floor beneath you, you see a handful of doppelgangers in the tower beneath you, sitting around a table, like looking up frantically, kind of like turning around, racing for a door. One of them stands on the roof with you. He's been tangled in a bit of a melee with Waffle, and I think that he like screamed, "No!" as Zvox falls and like turns, like reaching out, as he turns, looking back to Waffle and just taking a step back into the corner, placing his hands up, like, "Please, please, no more. This is our home."
Oh my God.
I like how we've totally lost Troy. He's just like, you guys take care of it.
I know.
I forgot about all this emotional baggage.
I don't think Reg is still on the ground, I believe. Like, he hasn't been dealing with all this.
What's on the ground with Ben? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this doppelganger puts his hands up towards you, Adam. Like, please, no more.
I think Adam will look to Waffle and give like a curt nod as to be like, you guard him well just in case he pulls any shenanigans. And with that, he will stride down the path here. Along, I would say, like, past Doc. How do you think Doc is reacting in this moment to everything that's happening?
I think Doc is like frozen between no pressure, but like staring at Lux, like looking to like Faye, realizing that this reunion maybe means like she shouldn't like shove her nose in this moment, as she like realizes the weight of all of this crashing into you. And I think she turns as you call to like Waffle to watch this guard, and gives you kind of like a nod from the distance, Adam, as like her gaze looks back towards Lux, where she's just like, I think, watching and not judging or anything.
Yeah, I think Adam would try to take a hint from Doc here. I think he'd assume basically what Doc does, he should do. And so he's going to remain with her right now from like an okay distance until something goes down or he is beckoned further. But he does not want to advance in to what looks to be a very hairy situation.
Okay. And so as Faye is like holding like Zvox's body, I think she starts to like cry. Happy Mother's Day. I think her shoulders.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm like breaking through this like red kind of haze with
yes, it all like kind of
can
like
I like try and
out.
just throw the bow? Can I try and throw it like off the edge of the building?
You can try. Yeah, make a charisma saving throw.
Oh, son of a biscuit.
Vengeance state of mind.
Oh, okay.
Charisma saving throw, Lux.
Let's see. Oh, that's good.
19.
Very good.
You like snap your arm out. The bow, like there's a moment where you feel this like resistance in your hand, Lux. Your muscles like trying to betray you. This other like will in the back of your mind that just does not want to let go. But with a 19, your archer's fingers release. The bow comes loose, and I think we just hear it like cutting through the air, like where it clatters to the ground, landing at Reggie's feet. I'm sure quite dramatically.
Mom, wait, what did I do? Wait, he was bad. No, he was bad. He was bad. He took you guys.
Why was he bad? What do you mean he took us?
He took you. He kidnapped you. All
the planet was under attack. It was the only other ship that we recognized. We had no other way of getting out of there. We had nowhere to go. We looked to them for safety, for succor. We asked them to take us.
Well, no, but no. Wait, why? Who is he? Why are you? What happened? What?
And I think it's at this point we see a second figure like steps into the doorway over by the wall. A changeling like Lux and Doc, not a full doppelganger like Zvox and some of these others, but this man like stepping to the door, or this changeling steps to the door, and suddenly like the features begin to shift, the white hair like kind of becoming like darker and growing out around it as you realize that this is in fact Tam, Lux's like father, standing at the door.
One suspect down as to who Zvox surely was off the picture.
And I think that he like gasps, grabbing the door handle, like, "What's happened, Lux? What are you doing?"
I don't know. I was so scared. You were gone, and I thought you got taken, and you were running away, and I don't. Why, Mom? Why are you crying? Why? Hi, Troy. Welcome back.
Reginald, ultimately, as you are still down on the ground, you hear this cry come from the roof. I'm just putting Troy back in here. Bear with me 1 second. You don't know what has exactly happened up there, but you hear a cry from the doppelgangers' voices of "No!" And you hear one of them like surrendering, seemingly, "Please, no more." And then you hear like Lux's voice, what did I do? No. And you see her like snap her hand, and she throws Kadras, the bow, off the roof.
Rich, I have to interrupt you.
Yes.
How long have I not appeared to be here?
Like the whole time.
Yeah.
Since like almost right after we started.
Oh, that's really funny because I've been listening in on the whole thing.
Oh,
yay!
I've been here the whole time.
The silent
every once in a
while,
I would interrupt and you'd keep going, and I would be like, "Well, I guess you got a plan."
You were basically what Kevin was last week. I'm just like,
that
okay, well, I feel socially isolated.
So funny. I was like, and at one point you were like, "Yeah," and Troy, something about Troy's fine, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm cool. I'm not even here, so you're fine." But apparently I wasn't.
You weren't
here.
actually.
I'll be more specific about like, "Oh, hey, I have lost you. Are you still in the?"
Yeah, that might be helpful.
That's my.
So I know exactly what's going on.
Okay, great,
amazing.
I once or twice may have had a notion of what Reg was doing down below, but now we are where we are.
Now
whatever Reg was doing
extras
was off screen, quite literally. So.
Well, isn't Rich still invisible anyway from the spell that he cast? So I think it's very appropriate.
He's not invisible. I don't think. I disappeared and I flitted around and then I reappeared. But I actually do have still meteors swirling around me, a few. And so the question that I had was whether the doppelgangers up on the ramparts still appear to be nefarious in some way. But it sounds like
one
no.
like raise his hands. There's only one visible up there, and Waffle is like squared up with him, and you can see his hands raised into the air. But at the like lower tower down behind you at the lower landing, you do see the door open on the ground floor, and a handful of doppelgangers like emerge. And there is as well one like swimming around the island that was blasted off the roof, but guy's not in your line of sight.
Yeah, I mean, I think Reg is like just shouting up, like I think it's when he sees like Kadras like fly over the ramparts and like kind of fall at his feet, and he like looks down. What happened?
Lux? I don't know. Doesn't sound good though. You hear Ben from behind you like,
"Don't worry, Papa. Lux killed Zvox. We're trying to figure out what happened."
And I think like Reg like rushes forward and uses his ring of jumping to like bound up toward the edges of the ramparts, maybe just enough that he's like has to like awkwardly pull himself over.
And I think like Nira's like helping you. It's just like, oh hey, you could do that too. I didn't know you could do that too. That's great. We can all jump. Is that because we live in space? Here, I'll give you a hand. Oh, let me use my other hand. Here. Oh, should I? Your hand is very bald.
What?
And I think he's like looking around and like trying to just take in the sight.
As Lux, you're like kneeling on the ground in between, like Zvox is like between you as Tam like holds her, or as Faye, I should say, like holds her. And I think that she just like looks up at you, like tears like kind of streaming down out of her eyes as Tam comes like walking forward and puts a hand on your shoulder from behind and is like, you've made a mistake. You misunderstood. Your mom maybe is gonna need a minute.
I mean, how much time has passed? Can we like call for Reya to just drop in and do a little bit of a quick little CPR?
Somebody could call for Reya. I mean, it's been like 40 seconds here, 30 seconds, I think. Like, yeah.
I mean, can Lux like and I think she's like looking at her mom or dad comes over. Can she like reach out and try and cast like a cure wounds?
Sure, yeah, you cast cure wounds.
Yeah.
You reach down and like grab hold of him and you conjure the like planar magics, the like infusions of energy that you give your allies in battle that have proven so vital to you in these months in space. And I think like the energy flows from you into him to no avail. He does not move and nothing happens. And I think that your mother like looking at you is just like, why would you have thought that he took us? What led you to this grievous misunderstanding?
Because people are bad sometimes. And you were talking about the... I know, but you were talking about cargo and people were getting taken, and I thought, and...
Yes, they were. They were. And it's only by the grace of a few good souls in this scattered galaxy that we've been able to make any difference at all. Do you have any idea how much he's done? All those people over the years. How do you think that we get them out? Is this what you've been doing since you left?
No.
Storming into people's homes?
No.
Laying waste to their leaders?
Mom, no.
I think you hear Tam from behind like, Faye, I know that this hurts you, but it was a mistake. And I think she's like, gets up and looks to the doppelganger over to the side next to Reggie and is like, bring him inside. Help me. and it nods and like turns and kind of looks at you, Reggie. This smooth, featureless face, the bluish purple kind of muscles like stretched over it. This like, you know, the pupilless kind of like mirrored eyes, these big, huge eyes on it as it turns and looks to you, like stepping away tentatively towards the woman's side. And it reaches down, like picking Zivox's corpse up, slinging it over its shoulder. And I think it turns and looks to Faye and says, we must call for a new speaker. The procedures must be followed. He would see it that way.
I think like Reg at this point does finally speak and says, speaker, what sort of role, who is this? Who was this?
And I think the doppelganger like turns looking at you and then turns looking back to like Faye for a moment. And I think it's Tam who speaks up, Lux's father, like, it's a little complicated, but I can try to. They're a small group. They're schismatics from the shifting thread. Zivox was their leader of a sort. They have a process to choose a new one.
And you have known him for a long time? Like, why have I never met him? If he's so important.
He looks back at your mother and like glances back to you, and I think that she like glances at you for a minute as the doppelganger is like helping move Zivox's body, and he's like, I'll explain. And I think you just see Faye like nod to him a little bit as they all like head in. This doppelganger carrying Zivox and like Faye following them head into like the tower on the far side of the roof here and begin descending down the stairs out of line of sight, leaving the kind of group of you up here on the roof. And I think that Tam is like, your mother has known him for a very long time. Before we met.
First love.
I think he turns looking at Adam like, and looking back to you, Lux. The shifting thread, when they lost their homeworld, they found a way to make do. A nation of disparate people, doppelgangers. They found others like them, the mimics. They were able to cultivate some to make the ships that you know. They were one of the first great mercenary guilds, truly, in the modern age, but they serve any master. They will take any contract for the price that they set. They have done dark deeds over the centuries. There are some who would see another way done. Zivox and your mother were part of a crew. 30, 25 years ago, they they found something that changed the way they think. They've been looking for a new path, a new road ever since.
What did they find?
Have you ever heard of
I'm certain I have.
Witness?
Mind witness?
And he turns, like, nodding to you, like, they were crafted by Ilthalids, mind flayers, so it is believed. They are akin to beholders, but not the same at all. This one was freed in a battle in the stars. Zivox's crew, it was a job gone bad, but in the midst of it, they found this mind witness, and It allowed them to join their minds collectively, each of them tapping into it in turn allowing each of them to tap into each other. They found a sort of collective consciousness amongst one another, a sense of cohesion, solidarity, community that they never had before. And it changed the way they thought of their futures.
You keep saying they and not we. Are you not a part of this?
Well, your mother and I have been on our own path for quite a time, Lux. She was with them then. With Zivox then. And, well, we found each other afterwards. They have been allies over the years. I've met him before. He has helped with many that we have ferreted through the guild's hands. But
this mind witness, it was a particular being?
yes.
And I think, like, Reg just, like, side eyes over toward Lux and kind of gives, like, some big eyes. And at this point, if Doc is there, like, arrives as well, I think, like, Reg kind of, like, gives the look over to Doc as well to see if either of them remembers
The killing of a mind witness.
the killing of a mind witness that occurred round about 2 seasons ago.
I think
Yeah, I think Lux is like just not even. I think she's kind of staring at the door where like her mom went, and like occasionally looking at her dad. But yeah, that's about it.
And I think like depending on how Doc responds, maybe and Rich, maybe you'll take some liberty here to like, do you think that Doc is making a connection, or is this Reg just like?
No, Doc's super smart. Doc's like on a level with Reg, and I think that she would like nod at you and then give you the like shrug of like, right, like I don't know, but like I see what you're putting down, but I don't know. And I think that then she like gestures with her head down over the side of the keep, where you see a handful of these doppelgangers now like emerged out of the keep or moving around down on the ground. And I think that Ben, amidst them, he's just like, "Hey, how you doing there? I'm really sorry about your boulders. We didn't realize that they were kind of guard dogs, but well, they fought like hell, so you ought to give them good burials, I guess." As you hear this whole conversation coming from down over the side of the keep. Yeah.
But Ben, be careful. Shout if you need anything.
Yes, Ben, do not tell them that you were the one to blow up the section of the castle.
No, I would never.
And I think like Reg kind of it's like, oh god, he's just like looking around, he's like, so many things. First, threat reduction. If are we, is this a truce? Are we at a truce? And I think he's like looking to make sure that these doppelgangers down below don't get fresh with Ben.
And I think that Tam like looks to you and he's just like, they're not a warlike people. This is their home, and
Good. Yes, we shall have time to apologize, for which we will certainly need to. But I need to understand briefly the scope of what has occurred here thus far. This mind witness. If you believe that they are still living,
oh, I'm certain that it is. It is below this keep right now. They brought it here after the fact, and well, they found a home here.
Certainly
May
a relief.
we go see it?
I've never been so relieved to know an aberration was mere feet below me.
I Well, we could. Perhaps it would help resolve some of the conflict that has arisen here. Lux, are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. I'm exhausted. It's been days and days and days chasing down the sky that I thought had taken you. And that fucking bow.
What about the bow?
What do you think about the bow, Reg?
I don't think much of the bow. It's a
I've
bit of
got
an
it down
arse,
here.
if you
Don't
ask
worry
me.
about it.
Ben, you
Don't-
throw that
don't-
thing in the
put that down.
freaking lake.
Don't touch that.
And I think
It was-
I think Lux would feel at her hip a little cold touch of metal as A.D.A.M is attempting to bring her back up to at least some sort of relatively supine position from the assumed slumping that has taken place due to said exhaustion.
Yeah, I think Lux will like kind of stand up.
No, Lux. Lux.
What?
How much of a problem is this bow?
I mean, it just made me shoot that guy.
It made you shoot?
I tried to just talk to him at first, but before I knew it, I just was...
do not touch that bow.
Too late.
Oh, evil Ben! That's the final boss. Just
Stop it,
maelstrom,
like,
swirling maelstrom.
Stop it. Do not manifest that, I swear to God.
I don't
No,
think it likes me. It's not very chatty.
It said that we're... I don't know. I was fighting. I knew I had to get Zvox, and
What did it say?
it said that we're bound.
It said what?
I don't know.
Where did you get this bow?
Reggie was there when I got it. It was given to me by a ghost on a moon.
Wow, that sounds suspect.
There were extenuating circumstances, but yes, it was a dodgy bow.
I mean, Doc knew that it was bad. I just didn't
Doc?
listen.
Yeah,
Yes.
I knew that it was bad. And I told her that it was bad. And I told her that not to be doing anything with it from as soon as she got it. But why would anybody listen to me? Right?
I don't think I should go inside right now.
I'm sorry, Melissa. I think I just made Doc way too mean right
I was gonna say,
I don't think so at all.
I think
actually
Doc would be
don't
pretty
think
upset.
so at
I
all.
Not even
think
close to
Doc would
that.
tell it like it is right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe you should speak with Dawn. Yes.
With what? With who?
The mind witness. They call him Dawn.
Dawn?
I would just like to briefly reset the table here because there are many things going on, at least in my brain, my mind. She's witnessing all sorts of blown a hole in the side of their home, and we shall resolve that briefly.
The doppelganger next to you stops, Reg, and it turns and it says, "Fear not. These slimes will repair the stone easily. We have cultivated ones that lay their waste in cubic manufacturers that we have downstairs in the ranch. They will make the bricks quickly."
Ah, well, I know a turtle
Ah.
that would despise their very presence, but he is not here, so we are in good stead.
Doppelgangers have a slime ranch.
Well, okay, then that is one less thing to worry about. We have mind witness below, we have a dead body, and we have a Lux. A.D.A.M. Thoughts?
Oh, few. I think we should go downstairs and talk to Dawn. It seems like it wants to liaise with Lux, and if anything goes wrong, I will kill it where it stands.
No, no more killing, please.
No, we must not kill no, we would. It does not deserve death. I do not believe, but he's joking, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just
He's
adventure and
learning.
humor.
He's learning. He's learning.
Apparently it's a joke. Yes, it is a joke. Listen, I don't know if you're taking suggestions for the next speaker. We do have a brand new captain who has been doing swimmingly so far, and I'm gonna put my coin in the jar.
Talking about this, the whole captain thing.
That's right. I'll do it. I think. Take me to the throne. Do I get a throne? Leader should have a throne. It is a castle.
I don't think I should go inside right now. And maybe I should just stay out here for a little bit.
What? You do what? Pout?
Yeah, maybe avoid my mom because I just killed her best friend, apparently, of
They
like
were
30
not
years.
Best friends.
Thanks, Dad. I was just being delicate. Okay?
You do understand. I'm not sure how much is being
Wait.
lost in translation.
Can you speak, Dad? I love you so much. Can you please just say what you mean?
This
right
was so much easier when I just was able to get back on the ship at port and say, I'll talk to you in a few months. I'm not sure.
Oh
Look,
no!
it's your mother's. It's your mother's. It's your mother's story to tell. I just want to make sure that there's no more surprises. It seems that, I mean,
We should go inside immediately. Yes,
jump
Lux,
to this
just
one conclusion, and I just
Are you my dad?
I did the best that I could.
Oh my
I raised you with everything that I could. I gave you my all.
I just killed my real dad.
I may not have sprung you forth from the seat of my loins, but I made every effort to teach you all that I knew, Lux. I know that we don't have last names, but if we did, I would want you to have the same last name as me. I tried.
Tam, please, if I may. I just wanted to stop you. I apologize. It just seemed that it was when you were talking about things coming from your loin. Lux, the fact that you would react in such a way means that a parent can look in many different shapes and forms.
Yes, that's the point with him, right?
All right, fuck it. Lux walks inside.
And I think Tam's standing out here with Adam and Reginald. He's looked at you guys like, this is very complicated. But if I can be really candid with you guys, I never really liked him. He's always a little bit of a pretentious jerk.
I mean, not going to lie, our base judgment of him was certainly one reason why we made perhaps a mischaracterization that led to his current death.
And I think like Reg just like looks at Doc, as almost certainly Doc goes to follow Lux. And it's just like, did you know about? No, okay, no. We'll be right in.
I think she does like one of these at Tam as she's walking past. Waffle like looming menacingly up over her shoulder. Sure, as you head inside, and there's like a doppelganger standing inside, like in this kind of like tower, this turret that's up on the roof, like standing by the doorway as you come in, and it's just like, your mother awaits below, spacefarer. Come. And we'll like escort you down the stairs as the group you're following. Yeah, I don't know if there's like anything that you guys are trying to discuss outside lingering, but otherwise you're all just gonna...
I mean, I think first, is Tam coming with us, or is he gonna hang out?
I think he will follow up the rear. Yeah,
Okay.
if like all of you guys are going inside, he will come with you.
I don't want to slow us down, but maybe I can yada yada some version of
Sure.
like Ben getting back on the boat and Reg seeing that Ben is safely back on the boat, and something is happening with this bow that doesn't involve any of our people touching it.
I think there's a whole beat of like Doc like has tied a rope to one of the parapets, and Ben's like little clawed hands come up over the edge of like, all right, I made it. I've got the bow. You're like, bring it back to the boat. And he's like, all right. Turns, you're like, you shouldn't be holding the bow. And he's like, I can put it under my armpit. Does that count if I don't use fingers? Or are we just talking about scale to wood contact? I can wrap it up. I've got a sack. I always carry a sack of extra sacks. It was very helpful when you're catching fish on Cerealia. Okay, I'm on my way. Good luck. He makes his way back to the boat. Yeah.
Such a gem.
Captain, you seem like a great sense of judgment. Would you mind joining him and making sure that this cursed artifact does not come into his tactile presence?
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I want to see if I can rock the boat enough to make it flip upside down and do a barrel roll. And I think Nira like jumps off the roof.
I think they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I think Reg like just looks at Adam and was like, if you couldn't believe it, their odds of survival have increased by Nira's presence. It defies all logic, but the math is quite clear. Right, inside we go.
So you guys head down this like winding spiral staircase, and it comes down to like this like, you know, this base circular tower. It's got a big wooden door in it leading back into like the actual like the building proper. Then there's another wooden door which you see is actually open when you come down here, with a couple of doppelgangers that are out on kind of like a ledge over the sea, and they appear to kind of be like talking, but Tam kind of gestures for you all to like head forward, and you're able to make your way into like this big sort of common room. There's like a weapon rack up against the corner. It's got like a couple of old like practice spears and quarterstaffs leaning up against it. There's a bunch of like cots kind of like roughly just shoved up against the northern wall, like chests underneath them, haphazard like sacks of bags and like unfolded clothes hanging off hooks and stuff. And then a couple of tables, one of which you note is like a map table that's just got a few chairs around it in the center of the room, and then like a long kind of dining table, right? And Tam like gestures over towards it for you all to sit down.
Rich, can I do something? Can I go just like rewind like to that actually like the beginning of this adventure?
Okay.
Not like the campaign, but tonight. I was so shocked that I didn't write down what Zvox said something before he died. It was like, you must find blank.
Like Meldrune or something?
Yeah, he told your mom that she needed to speak with Meldrus.
Okay, thank you. I just needed to write that down. It was really bothering me.
Meldrus.
Flashback to the beginning of the campaign where Lux said, the one thing I won't do is kill my dad.
Well, flashback to the beginning of the campaign when we killed a mind witness. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Anyway.
So you come down in here, and I think that there are like there are a couple like doppelgangers have like moved in to the front door and are like in the room here with you. I think like one of them stops as like another one is kind of like lingering outside talking with the other. And yeah, like Tam gestures down to the table and is like, You've just been chasing us since Homeworld?
Yeah.
We had a couple of distractions here and there. Get the Yankee ship that's in need of trouble. We're going to have to take care of that, by the way. Their very odd-looking ship is currently parked in your seaport. But by and large, yes, we saw a couple of, in hindsight, misleading images of Lux's parents in danger. And so we scried our brains out and got here in the nick of time.
It's very impressive that you were able to follow us that efficiently, actually.
That was the bow.
That was the boat.
I could see Zvox all of the time.
Oh, that seems unsettling.
Yeah.
With apologies, Lux, is there anything else you're not telling us?
This seems to be the time for secrets.
I'm gonna just go check on your mom. I'll give you all a moment. And I think he like heads out and like gestures for the doppelganger to come with him, and they close the door.
It just when I got really mad the one night and I like slammed the door to on the bridge.
Oh, yes.
When you came to visit me after
I had
Reggie.
almost forgotten.
Well, the bow said that it could help if I made an oath that I would kill Zvox, and it would help me track him down, and so I did. And yeah, all I could think about was Zvox, and I could see him all the time. I just had to think about it for a moment, and I could hone in, but I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. I just, and then when we got here and I finally saw him, I tried to ask him just where my parents were, but I made an oath. And so I fired 2 arrows into his chest. Into my dad's chest.
You can make an Arcana check if you want, Reg,
Oh, that's very much where his brain was.
because you were there when she got it. You remember the person who was like wielding this bow, and there's you've seen her like since she had got it. And,
Mhm.
22. So you're familiar with like a number of like powerful enchantments on these kind of like magical items. You've heard of oath bows before. These bows that are like you can like make an oath on like an enemy as your sworn kind of enemy, and they will fixate and focus on them like above all others, right? But like as you're thinking back to when you found this bow, there was a white transformed through undeath by unnatural means, trapped on that like floating asteroid of a moon, as it were. And yeah, he like basically told you that it was like his oath of vengeance that transformed him as such, that it was this vengeance unfulfilled. And so I think that you pretty clearly have an understanding that this is like a really powerful magical item. It's not like something to squawk at. And then now that like Lux has made some type of like oath to it, that it's fortunate that she killed Zvox, because it probably would have transformed her into some facet of undeath if she didn't manage to execute that oath. But you're not sure like whether or not that connection is necessarily severed. Or a better way to say it would be like you have a feeling that now that she has like opened the door to allow this thing to like get hooks in her, that there is a connection between them. As you're like looking at Lux, and you can see like the bloodshot around her eyes, and like the sag in her shoulders.
Rich, if I activate one of the charges of the Astromancy archive, could I get any additional insight or speculation into like where one might start to unwind that?
Yeah, sure. You can do that. So you think that it would take like basic dispel magics are not going to work. You might be able to temporarily suppress the effects of the magic, but you need like really powerful magic, be it like divine clerics or druids, to cast some kind of like high level severing, or some type of extraplanar creature, celestial or a powerful like fey entity potentially, or like higher level arcanist. But like what I'm getting at here is like you need something akin to like ninth level spells ish to try to like undo this enchantment.
Yeah, I don't think Reg says that part out loud.
Yep. I think like Reg can intellectualize that though, that like the unweaving of this, whatever it is, it's really like old binding powerful magic, and like Lux has already like made the unfortunate act of like making an agreement with it, and begun that process.
Thank you for sharing. I think we shall have a long ride ahead of us to unwind what has occurred up to now to cause this to be the case. But you are here and alive and with people who care for you.
I think, Papa, the problem is at this moment she does not particularly care for herself due to her own deeds.
Yes, and I could imagine why. I mean, no, not that one shouldn't feel, or you should feel. It is not reassuring to kill one's parent in a way that is. You did not know. You didn't know. You had inadequate information and were not in control of your faculties. It quite reminds me of a dean of the college where my parents were, who had lost control of all of the professors in her department. And, in that sort of rough, very unhelpful analogy, that is roughly equivalent to this situation, don't you see?
No.
Well, I guess I could have chosen something more concrete.
I was stupid.
No.
Really
No.
stupid. Yes, I was, Reggie. Doc told me I was being stupid and I didn't listen. I just kept using the bow and I kept just trying to win and trying to be better, and my mom was always tough. And she always did cool stuff, and my dad was always just a nice guy who was there and cared about us, and I'm angry and I'm upset and I don't understand why I didn't know. And
you had to figure it out on your own. I think Doc says, you were being dumb, and I did tell you, but doesn't mean that you're not tough. You do tough stuff all the time. You don't need a stupid cursed bow. I make this stuff, Lux.
I know.
So I'm sorry. I'm not saying I was right or I told you so. I'm saying just because you were dumb doesn't mean you are dumb.
Yeah, but I was so dumb that I killed my real dad. And I can't take that back.
I think Adam would attempt to sit up on the bench as you see his small legs dangle above the floor. As he tries to put in the quietest of terms, and of course that means no change in the volume of his voice. That makes two of us. And he pauses before continuing. I had been aware that Dr. Laiwi, my before father was accruing many enemies in his time due to his various attempted misdeeds. And I turned a blind eye to it. Willingly, I had supposed, perhaps in the opposite of your regard, that another day would pass and nothing would happen. And that would keep continuing. That our little storybook fantasy, however depraved it may be, I find out in retrospect, would continue page after page. The interesting thing about books I have learned in the past several months is that every chapter can beget twists and new events. You are never guaranteed to have upon future pages what was once previously written. As a result, I did not anticipate what was coming to us. And while I was not responsible necessarily for the death that underwent my own father, I do partially feel responsible for it. I as well have taken countless numbers of lives with my bare hands, with various weaponries, with improvised weapons, with other people as well. That was a fun time. I'll tell you about that one later once you're in the mood. I have come onto this ship and I have been welcomed back with relatively open arms. I've been given a new papa. I've been given the ability to look at the universe with new eyes in so many ways. I was not beyond redemption. I do not think you are as well.
Thanks, Adam.
I think as Adam like finishes up, like Doc like turns a little bit as the door is open behind you, the soft kind of breeze, the sound of the water lapping up against the shore from the distance as Tam and Faye like stand shoulder to shoulder in the kind of doorway, these couple of doppelganger kind of like behind them, flanking them, and they're like looking at Adam as he finishes. And I think that Tam like just nods softly, and Faye's looking at you, Lux, like your friend is wise. You made
Hello?
a mistake. Yes. Hello.
Sorry, you just started speaking without greeting. I was very surprised, so I thought I'd just say hello.
Hello. You made a mistake, Lux, but I understand what you were trying to do. It's going to take me some time.
Why didn't I know him?
His path was different than ours. He was on a road of danger. He's been looking for a home for these people. He thought he might find it on Homeworld. That's why he was there. I think she looks at Doc and she's like, he's been looking for what Axel was working on. Many things have been revealed to them in the time since they met Dawn, but I had to make a choice, Lux, and I did not think that this road was one for a child. Many of them have died for what they've done. They are not exiles, but pariahs amongst their own. The path of a changeling in this galaxy, it's not an easy one. We wear any face we wish. It's not easy to earn trust in that kind of paradigm. Even less so for them.
You don't think I know that?
I don't know what you know.
I've been to so many different places now. I met so many types of different people. And you didn't think that when I left to go adventuring around the world that you would have told me that Tam isn't my dad?
Well, I mean, I did kind of put in the time. I think you hear him say, she just like looks at him like turning back like, look, I was waiting for the right time. We tried to give you a good life. We tried to raise you well.
You gave me a great life. I'm not trying to say that you didn't, but...
So you're not the only one who made mistakes. He was looking for dangerous things. He was turning over rocks that have been left in place for a long time. And scary creatures get kicked up when you do that for long enough.
I know. Did you know that we fought like an army of shadow dragons?
Yes, I did know that. I heard the song, and I was very excited to sit down and talk about it over pancakes with you in Homeworld before it was attacked.
Okay. Oh. So yes, I get it. We've been turning over old stones. We fought a disgusting abomination of a long dead dragon that was all slime and decaying disgustingness, and I've met
you
like
killed the dragon, Tam says. Did you? I mean, I guess you just said you fought it. Did you run away?
no, we've killed lots of dragons.
You've killed lots of dragons?
Yeah.
My girl. I think he like turns around looking at the top. Okay. It's like, can you even? I think like Faye like slaps him. Like he's like, I'm sure. That's very impressive. Lots
This
of
will
dragons.
do very well for you in the speaker election.
And I think Faye is like, I have not seen Zivox in many years. I knew that he would be on Homeworld. We hope to talk about his plans.
Why was he walking around like
That's what they do. That's
why did he know? Mom.
It's like twist.
What the
And I think Reg is like, if I could. There is a lot of history to be unwound. I do have an awareness that there is some present danger. I'm not certain that's even the proper word, but
Can you take us to the mind witness, please?
Yes, you will speak with Dawn, and he will read your minds to sense if you bring menace, malice, or deception into our home. You have spilled the blood of our speaker upon our stones, but we are a merciful factor.
just one. Absolutely, we shall bear witness to Dawn. I just want it to be known to all here in the room and those who are listening in the other chambers, we didn't know that we were duped in a way, both by foul magical object and, with all due respect, decades worth of falsehoods. So one can understand that we are a bit flummoxed by the entire situation. Lux, there will be time for reckoning, reconciliation, and a sort of je ne sais quoi around what to do with the Kadras of it all. But I just think it is important to know that no ill will was brought about by us. At least those of us in the room.
We
Correct?
do not understand some of those words, Giff-Q, but it was told to us by Zivox that you were people of great import. That one holds the secret of her dead uncle, which she does not know. It points at Doc, and I think it says, and you others already have made waves in the great ocean of stars. He believed you to be of importance and wished to call you for audience. And so we will share our minds with
He
Dawn.
could have sent a letter.
Really, what
This
is up
was-
with the communication in this freaking world?
All discussed on our journey home after your world was attacked by the undead mind flayer in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Look, It feels an apology is due. I am not certain to whom, from whom quite yet. Perhaps a cadre of apologies, and there will be time for that.
Can we
He's
talk
now-
about why the ship was a mimic ship, though?
Well,
You are
I'd
very
imagine.
fortunate that the Bluebell is not here, or certainly would have consumed you with the voracious vengeance for the death of Zivox.
Yes,
They were very close.
It is my understanding that the folks of this background, it is not uncommon to have a mimic ship.
I'm not talking about the Bluebell.
Oh.
No, we're talking about the Ilthalids, correct?
Yes.
Our
Oh,
people,
yes, I had forgotten about that.
our people, the shifting thread, take many jobs. Some serve this undying Ilthalid. They have chosen to throw their lot in with him. It was this which led Zivox to speak of straws and camels. This choice driving him to action after years of consideration. He sought to find a homeland and succor underneath the one called the Havana. That is why we were at the homeworld when he attacked.
So Yavanna knew about all this too?
I am but one. I am called Eros, and I know not what your leader says or knows.
Okay,
I know
fair enough,
only what
Eros, sorry.
Zivox has told me.
I'm not in a good spot right now, so I'm sorry if I am a little.
Who is on this day of pain?
I'm doing okay.
Well, that is fortunate. Do the rest of you require refreshment? We make a very bitter lemonade.
I could use a beverage, honestly.
Would you like the bitter lemonade?
Yeah.
I imagine that is probably the only option, is it not?
No. We
Oh,
also make a very minty iced tea.
I can't really taste the difference between bitter and mint, but mint is a more fun word, so mint for me.
You would like the color too. It is green.
I will simply observe and ensure that neither is poisoned. Thank you.
It's okay, Papa, I cannot be poisoned.
No!
Their deceptions will be exposed.
Pours you
Wonderful.
lemonade and iced tea, and he puts them down on the table, just like big blue faceless kind of doppelganger of a person.
I have such a headache from going to like laughing as Taylor to like just emotionally agonize his life.
I am open. Suggested course of action. Simply a suggestion. Doc, perhaps you would remain here and study what could be learned from this room and the others here. And I think he like gives the eyes, which is just basically like ensure that they don't kill us while we go down below.
Yeah. Player
and-
character eyes. Yep.
And then I think he turns to Lux and Adam and it's like, I think it's time we have a conversation with Dawn.
Exciting.
And so I think that with that, the doppelgangers, like having brought you some drinks, they proceed to like kind of scatter out around this room. As like Doc is seemingly kind of talking to one of them. Hold on one second, just bear with me here. And as you guys, they basically like lead you out the back, out the little like kind of side door that goes out onto the ledge, and you go walking around the kind of like exterior edge for a little bit until you you come down around the side, and you see there's like a ladder coming down the actual like side of the island over near one of the banks, and then a hallway that leads up underneath the fortress. And as you climb down this little ladder outside and start heading into the hallway, you find yourself in this natural kind of tunnel. making your way into the lower levels of this fort. Like heading through the kind of twisting passage, the ground is all like soil, the walls all like earth and soil, some support struts like mounted over the tops of the kind of caverns to shore up some of the loose places. You feel like the breeze kind of pulling through. There's a couple of like benches situated in here, but as you come around the corner, you hear the sound of like a group of people, I think, before you even see them. And coming around the corner, there are literally about half a dozen people, and they're all like down on their knees, kind of like surrounding this large creature that is dominating the center of this room. Soil floor, all kinds of like crates and barrels like filling up the space, a hallway leading out the other side of the room. These folks are down on their knees, and levitating up above them is this massive, maybe like 300-pound pink fleshy aberration of a creation. Here, I will do one of these.
Yes. Show it.
It has a series of eye stalks kind of twisting off of its body. Its skin, this like smooth, kind of glimmering pink. It's got a sheen on it, almost like slug slime. Each of the eyes at the end of like the tentacles, just these like pale white orbs, pupilless, much like the doppelgangers themselves. And then the eye in the center of its head, also like this mirror white, milky, like smooth, pupilless kind of eye, with the tentacles on the lower half of its body not holding eyes. And so this thing is just kind of like levitating in the middle of the room, the tentacles moving like ever so lightly. And on the ground, you see a half a dozen people all on their knees. Their like hands kind of folded in their laps, their eyes closed. And I think that you three specifically, to varying degrees, might recognize them as some of the refugees from Homeworld that like scattered onto the ship with Lux's parents, as it were. And so like with Tam and Faye kind of like leading you down here, as you all emerge into this room, I'll ask, what do you guys want to do?
Can I roll back one little thing?
Yeah,
which
please.
is like,
yep.
I think I can briefly speak for Melissa, that does Doc have protection from good and evil in her spells?
Ooh,
because if she does and she has any slots left, I have to imagine she would have at least cast that on Lux.
She already did.
She already did. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's either like still running or would be re-upped, because I think that's a 10-minute spell.
It's
But
an
that
hour,
just-
I think.
It's an hour. Then I feel like we should be.
Pretty sure protection of evil goes an hour.
up to 10
No,
minutes.
it's just 10 minutes. I don't know. I thought it was an hour.
So the first one would have burned off, but she'll cast it again on you before you come down here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like, DMPC this one too much.
No.
But I feel like she would have done that.
I think she's super here for it. There are a couple of doppelgangers in the room too, like sitting on barrels and crates on the side of the room, just kind of like watching. And so as you all emerge in, the three of you with Tam and Faye and like a pair of doppelgangers with you. Is there anything you guys want to do or any like kind of conversation you all are having? Yeah,
Adam is immediately running up to the tank like a kid at a touch tank. He is wanting to check out this thing up close and personal, as close as he can be, considering it is hovering in the air.
It is in no tank, my small friend. So as you come, like I think you dart between like Lux and Reg, like and come like racing up to it. Its tentacles kind of like hang. It's only a couple of feet off the ground. You had just had a really recent height increase. Like you definitely could reach out and touch one of the tentacles if you want.
He's gonna.
Okay. Well, Professor Lux, are you guys doing anything as Adam darts away?
I think that Lux is one of Lux's like favorite enemies is aberrations. So I think that she like is seeing this thing, like recognizing the type of creature from when they first encountered one. And I think she's just trying to recall any information on it, and like as her kind of brain is in like survival mode right now.
Yeah, very fair. The things that you know about it is that it does like act as like a kind of telepathic hub. It does have a bunch of eye rays, telekinesis, a stunning ray, a slowing ray, psychic blast, fear, and then like an aversion ray, one that just makes you literally like run away from it. They're not like the most like aggressive or dangerous compared to true beholders that can like disintegrate and death ray your ass, right? They're much more like a utilitarian kind of like cog in the machine of like the Ilthid mind hive, right? So I think Adam, as you dart forward and kind of reach out, one of the tentacles like reaches down, and I think it's like this really like magnificent scene that's a little bit like gross and slimy, like an elephant's trunk reaching out for like a little kid's hand. You know what I mean? And it's like the slimy tentacle makes contact with your metal fingers and begins to like wind itself around like your arm and your hand.
This is incredible. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever encountered. I adore it, Papa.
I think Ben's just like nods and he's just collecting information with his eyes.
And I think in that moment, Adam, you feel your mind like shifting all of a sudden as you have a very clear sense of yourself. You feel yourself in your body, your feet on like the moist soil of the cave, the kind of like scent of like the wet dirt around you, the sound of like the people breathing in the room, right? The jangling of like Lux and then Reggie's equipment moving behind you. But you feel your mind like unmoor from your body. And you are suddenly like, you feel these other people that are all here. You feel Went, the shopkeeper who like sells fishing tackle in Harbor Town on Homeworld. You feel like the twin brothers of Mock and Mirth that like ran through the town square that day as these slimes came like plummeting off of like the ship from the sky. You feel like their relief at getting onto the Bluebell, at like lifting off the planet, knowing they would like survive this attack. You feel like the kind of like memories of like the half elf that is there with you as he's like thinking back towards like when he was young and he traveled here to Eston's Rest with his brother. You feel like the curiosity of the halfling woman next to you as like she wonders if her uncle like still lives here in Eston's Rest. And like you feel all of these like minds, all of their like memories, their emotions kind of like crashing into you, this collective sense of relief from all of them, at like this transcendent kind of like unifying experience that they're all sharing. And then I think you just hear this voice in your mind, Adam, of like, well met. You are new, but old.
Yes, I am Adam. Do you dream?
Yes, I dream others' dreams, though. I have wondered if I can have those of my own, or I merely imagine the dreams of those whose minds have touched me.
Well, I had you in about the second to last sentence, and then you kind of staved off there. But yes, same, on the same page. How are you able to read minds, to think what others think? I can't even imagine. Papa has only taught me about the barest of magic. This seems to be digging into wells upon wells of deep in lore.
My abilities are not magic. They are psionic. A minor distinction to those who do not practice, but I do this for I was forged for it. I sense you too were forged.
We are vibing so much right now. Yes, I was created by my papa to carry out evil deeds. And boy, did I, until I recently had a change of heart upon his death, and I've come upon my new family. Have you a family of your own?
Yes, I too was created, not by a papa, but by a hive mind of illithids as a weapon. I too a tool, a slave to be used in their violent conquests. But now I have family. I have lost today, though. I mourn for the one called Zivox. He had a aspiring soul. He dreamed great things for many people.
Well, we of course are sorry for your loss, mostly because we were the ones that caused said loss. Just a heads up, I'm not entirely sure how this process is going to go. I know me and my crew are able to be judged before you. I'm not sure if it's as simple as you take one look at us and give the old proverbial thumbs up or thumbs down upon the many tentacles that you have. Just know that Lux has a great heart. She too seemed to be someone much like ourselves that was created, divine for a greater purpose. That led her to pursue paths that were less than ideal, to take opportunities that have led her to take very, very grave decisions and lives. But as I have been learning, to err is human. And though neither you or I are human, it is something I admire about them. Their abilities to act upon ways they think they are doing well, but are not. It's a complicated mechanism. The idea of morality, of good and evil, and trying to do something for good, and it not being so. They are merely human. They are not like us, perfect machines made for greater purposes. I do ask that you lend a kind eye, perhaps your lone eye, to them as you cast upon your vast judgment.
And I think it's just responding back to you like, I have met many souls, but you intrigue me. Your wisdom is childlike, and you need not mourn. And I think, Lux, you hear this voice reach into your mind like, well met. I sense you are in terrible pain and turmoil.
Hi. Are you Dawn?
I am that. Well, that is what they call me.
Did you know that you could have whatever name you want in space?
I did not, but now I will. Do you approve of your name? The name given by those who raised you?
Think so. I'll have to think about it, I guess, because I don't know. I'm sorry.
Your regret is overwhelming. You need not hold so tightly to this pain.
It might take me a minute. I'm tired and I just killed my dad, who I didn't even know.
Yes, I know. It is a true tragedy. I have known many, many pains. Each soul who has touched mine carries their own, you see. But you need not mourn. His life was one well lived. So long as I endure, some part of him will as well. Would you wish to see? Or is this a burden that you do not wish?
No, I want to see.
And I think that you feel this like shifting space. You also, Lux, like having the same sensation, like you very much like are still connected and tethered to your body. It's not like the aspect of like Kadras pushing you to the back of your mind, but you have this like sight of like Zivox literally like walking up to this place, and he is in this like gnomish body of Dr. Lamin Lanalaman with like a group of others behind him, this motley assortment of like humans and firbolgs, elves and dwarves, dragonborn and tabaxi, and all of them kind of like slowly shifting as like Zivox is like gesturing out of this like very little fortress that you're at right now. And he's saying to them all like, in this place, we will have a home. We will be able to make for ourselves a new path. And then I think that you see like this flashing of memories of like him like working on the place with all of these other doppelgangers. I think you see faces of some of the people whom your parents like helped over the years. And I think that you like see them like with Zivox sitting at the table upstairs, like breaking bread with them, like traveling on the ships. I think you see Zivox at like the helm of like a Spelljammer in the like deep reaches of space, looking at like schools of Kindori whales and like this screaming comet racing across the sky. And then finally, I think you see Zivox like standing in front of a lake, and there's a shadow cast over him, the moon up in the sky holding. And the shadow is in the shape of like the silhouette of a giant humanoid looming over him. And you hear this like booming voice. You return. This is good. I have a clue. Perhaps you can find the end of it. And Zivox like nodding back as you see, and he says, my people were frightened for me to come here. The legend of the Meldrus travels far on Eston's Rest. There are those who believe you a terrible spirit, protector of these dark, forbidden places. And then I think that, like, you hear the voice again in your mind, Lux, like, that was more than I intended, but he felt much joy. He shared it, and he forged a path better for those who will walk now that he has gone. Learn from your choice, but do not let the lament overtake you.
Okay.
I think that Reginald, you as well hear this voice of like, well met. You are very full. The weavings of your arcanum make your mind a maze for me.
Yes. And you have simply arrived at the moat that surrounds the maze of my mind.
Protection is very important to you. You have kept them very safe, but you cannot protect them from themselves, can you?
Perhaps not. And what of you? What or whom do you protect?
I protect the idea of the future, the hope that one thing forged for a job may in fact perform another in its time. I sense your mistrust. You have crossed my kind in battle.
Perhaps.
The Illithids are evil unrelenting, but we are merely a tool in their arsenal. I have no malice. It is not a concept I can hold on to.
And malice I ascribe you not, of course. It is simply the case that in unfamiliar places with unfamiliar creatures, I am left to be more conservative.
They struggled. They are together, but each alone. This shifting thread, hiding in plain sight across the stars. This one, when he found me, and they joined their minds through this bond. They chose something different. There are gods worshipped on this world. Concepts ascribed to the stars. I cannot say if these are real beings or merely ideas, but Zivak seized hold of them. They became a moral compass, a guiding light. He sought to restore hope for those who live hopeless amongst this shifting nation of his people. He would not have them serve unjust masters like the one which you have battled.
It seems as though you seem willing and capable to assist those in their pursuits and perhaps desires, should it be for good.
I will try. So long as they come, I will teach them to see one another, to know each other's truths. Through this act, barriers are diminished. Solidarity is encouraged. But you know well, judgment. We are not well received by many at a surface glance. A home is no easy place to find.
This much is certainly true. You must be wise enough to know the reasons why I cannot remove all of the walls and ramparts that separate our minds at the moment. But I can and will briefly share something with you in hopes that it may lead to a better outcome. And I think with that, like, Reg will release in his mind the images of that he has in his memory of Kadras and Lux and his own interworkings around what it would take in order to, as quickly as possible, though knowing that that may not be possible, but just like this is now his current enigma, and is inviting help and speculation from Dawn.
Yeah, and I think that the response that you get back is like confusing. Some tools have intent of their own, separate from their wielders. Unusual, but I know not how to sever this bond, but if I were to point to one, this Meldrus up the rust flow was a being of notable power. Zivak said that he has strong ties with the workings of the druidic circles of this world. Perhaps an answer there if you seek one with haste. Beyond that, you may pray to the gods of the stars, or whisper to the keepers of the twilight. And perhaps they will answer.
And I think ever so briefly, Dawn will almost, as if an image is attempted to remain within, but is released, against Reg's will, of a very young Reginald basically saying to his parents, I don't believe in the gods. They've never answered my prayers before, and they're not going to answer again. And for the rest of my days, I will not believe, and I will not pray to them. And it's just this like thought that is that he cannot keep contained.
Let me ask: do you think that like reaches your friends?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much of this is a party line? Like, how much are we listening in on this?
I think that there is a little bit of like, the longer this goes, it's starting to like bleed out, right? Where like all of you are like, imagine in a room around a table with like dinner conversation happening, and like the one-to-one, and like amidst the kind of din of like the rest of these conversations, like the one conversation is starting to like crystallize a little bit. You're zoning in and like dimming out the noise, right, as you're catching the rest of this.
Yeah, certainly that last piece. I don't know how much of the earlier bits, right? Like people were attuned to.
Definitely like A.D.A.M and Lux, like the pair of you would at least connect with this of like, I think it's the voice of Dawn is like saying to all of you, like, my role with these people is merely to help them overcome the barriers of language, of teaching, and of prejudice. I do not know how to unmake this bond with the tool and the archer, but there are those in this world who may have those answers. One such is this figure of the forest.
I do think that Lux is like, after seeing like the visions of Zvox, I think she has like fallen to her knees in this room and is like silently sobbing, but like trying to listen to the conversation and like is trying to keep it together. But I think she's just like actively like sobbing on the ground a little bit.
Your friend requires rest.
So did we pass? We were told that we'd be judged.
And I think you hear the voice of one of the doppelgangers amidst, like, you bear no hatred. Zvox would give you welcome. We shall as well. We regret his loss, but understand the circumstance. We are not pleased, but we do not pursue revenge, or none would have lived as long as we have. You may rest as you see fit.
Well, I guess I'll be the one to speak on behalf of our group. Thank you. This was lovely, delightful. I mean, I'd love to stay and chat about this psionics. Is that what you said? I know I've sort of been on the slow path towards learning magic, but psionics. Now this sounds interesting. You can read into people's dreams. This is every one of, for lack of a better term, my own dreams coming true. I might have to genuflect at the altar of Dawn myself, much like my compatriots have.
I am very pleased to have melded with you, A.D.A.M. You are a very unique individual and will linger in my mind.
Likewise. Is it too forward if I call you my best friend?
I think as the tentacles, as the tentacles are like working their way over Adam's little metal shoulders, like I think it lifts you up off the ground, like, holding in front of its eye, like the other eye stalks coming down around. Like,
please, I quite enjoy that. This makes me very happy.
I likewise. This is one of the happiest moments I've ever had in my entire life. Thank you. Thank you. I know one of Papa's odd childhood memories, and now I have a best friend. Well, it looks like this day was not so bad after all, aside from the leader that we killed.
You hear Tam behind you. Ooh.
Oh my god.
They think like Dawn putting Adam down on the ground. I think that you do hear. I think all three of you actually would hear this of like, I have been trying to extend my reach. Perhaps as you depart from this place, I will try to maintain a connection to you across the distance. Is that agreeable?
I think immediately like another thought emanates from Reg's brain, and this one maybe with like, oh, I don't know how, but like this notion just flies through that it's just like, any Giff-Q? Like literally he's like searching the like Rolodex of Dawn's brain of like, you got any Giff-Q in there?
And I think that there is a point of like, others of your kind have been here, Reginald. May I call you that, or do you prefer Professor?
Oh, it's complicated. Refer to me however you wish.
Biologists. One such was brought here, separated from her party. She was found in the forest by Zivox's associates. She stayed for some 10 days with us.
Oh. Goodness, Giff-Q biologist exploring the stars. It is deeply uncommon. It is not uncommon to have a learned, some sort of other teacher or faculty of the Giff-Q, but they are quite often stationed at the various centers of learning that we provide. To have one adventuring is quite rare. Oh,
Harriet Chambers was her name. Her companions unknown to me, but in her time here, I came to appreciate her intellect and curiosity.
it is bred from an early age. Harriet Chambers. Well then. Well, shall we sleep? Yes, that's all. This is all.
Well, I don't know if I can sleep after the day that I've had, but gladly I will be happy to look over a resting Lux, in case any other calamity shall befall her.
If you do not need to rest, I could simulate the dreams I have experienced for you.
I love this best friendship already. Dawn, do your stuff.
I think that like
His
there's
arms wide.
as Adam like holds his arms up. I think there's this point where like suddenly, Adam, you have this sensation of like you're up on a stage naked talking to everybody that you know, and then there's a sensation of like, wait, no, and then you're flying through the clouds. It's like soaring, and then it proceeds to like roll into like a sequence of like just incredible events where like you crash into a cloud, but the cloud sticks to you and becomes an incredible ball gown, and you're dancing with the prince.
Can I just say, like, in my head, the background music is literally Breaking Free from High School Musical.
Yes.
I don't know why that came in my head, but with like busting through the clouds. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like ultimately Lux and Reginald, like Tam and Faye, will like lead you back up and offer you a couple of like the cots, right? These like beds in the main room. They do tell you that like you could go to one of the other rooms if you preferred, or like you're welcome to like sleep outside or go sleep on your boat, but they offer you up the beds as like the doppelgangers seem like busy. Also, like a few of them you see start coming out of like the back chamber, and they're carrying like these bricks, and then one of them has like literally like a container kind of over its shoulders as it's like heading towards the upstairs, and inside of it is this bright blue kind of like slime, it looks like, that it's like carrying up to the upper floors of like we will replace the mason work. The other one like, yes. So yeah, you guys can like stop and take a long rest if you want. Adam, ultimately over the course of like the next 6 hours, Dawn like brings you on a sequence of like the greatest hits list of like 100 different people's dreams. You know,
Oh my god!
You're like climbing mountains. You're a pirate captain. You got a puppy. It's Christmas Day. You know what I mean? Like, there's like this sequence of like events happening. You're like in your first dress. You know, like all this kind of stuff. You're like, learn. You know, Dad like let you take the boat out on your own to go fishing for the first day. It's just like. Things you could imagine and then things you couldn't, but it is this like onslaught of experiences that ultimately like Dawn is like reliving these other people's dreams for you.
Yeah, I think the entire time Adam is trying to compartmentalize as much as he can in his very simple head to like remember these experiences so he doesn't have to learn as much, because he has gleaned far more about the concept of behavior over the course of peeping in on a montage of dreams than he has in 6 or so months aboard the Dragonfly.
Let me have you also make an insight check here, Adam. Amidst this series of dreams, there are peppered in all of these little discussions and conversations about the stars.
That's a natural 20.
You, sir, in the midst of all of this, you're finding this like connectivity of this idea that there's like this religion that these doppelgangers living in this place have adopted. It's pretty common here to Eston's Rest about like these 9 central gods that are ascribed to like certain stars. Some of them are like are literal suns. The suns of many planets obviously are stars, but there are all these like ideas, right? These loose kind of concepts. The bigger and more important kind of like note as you're beginning to extrapolate all of this is that that this belief system, this whole like religion and belief about the gods, like at its fundamental precept is that within each of the stars is a portal to another plane of existence, and that the various stars like shine in these various colors and hues because they're opening to like different realities, that the light and the energy that's pouring out of them is literally like the light and the energy of other worlds seeping into this. And most importantly, I think you extrapolate that this religion has gained like a fervor pitch in Eston's Rest in the last 100 years because the moon exploded. The sun of Eston's Rest began to change and to shift, and academics, philosophers, astronomers were like, the sun is dying. That's like what they came to on Eston's Rest. And over the course of this process, it like destroyed the moon. Like over the next like kind of 20 years after this was discovered, the moon, through its natural course of like rotations through the sun's light, in the midst of it being cast into the sun's light at one point, it exploded. And this whole band around the world from space is what the moon used to be. But that ultimately it is now like concrete and confirmed that the sun of this world is dying. And that within the next like 100 years, like life on this planet will not be as sustainable as it is because it's diminishing in power.
Okay, well, now the day
That's
got
a lot.
very
I know it's a
worse,
lot.
much worse for Adam.
I know that's a lot, but like you're like extrapolating that out of like the kind of like the underside of like what you're getting from the dreams, right? Like the kind of like panicked feelings that these dreams are quelling and subsuming and like overcoming in these sleepers is about the fact that like, oh shit, our sun is dying and it did blow the moon up.
I mean, I think Adam would sort of like instinctively not turn to Dawn because he is sort of like doing this mild mill experience with Dawn, but I think he would try to refer to him, call out to him, and say, "Are you aware of this very gloomy forecast on the horizon?"
Yes, this is why Zivok sought refuge on Homeworld. The people of Eston's Rest are counting days, though most do not know.
So, just to make things crystal clear, your people attempted to take refuge for the fact that the end of days is soon to come due to a moon exploding. They were then set upon by a bunch of goo people and decided to come back to where they came from, which is, again, in an end of days scenario. And said leader also happened to no longer be alive.
Those are all mostly true, yes. This crew run the Bluebell. This is how they gather information, people, allies, and resources. At any given time, the Bluebell sails for one of the trade guilds out of Hub. Zivox was the captain of this organization. There are always some of them here. This is their lodge, but it is no true home, and they do not feel that they can make homes amongst the citizenry of this world. There's a great mistrust of dragons here due to a turning of an age before. Their role as shapeshifters makes it difficult for them to integrate in this place. In most places, what they sought is more than walls or a roof, but a leader who would accept them and stand for them and make them officially part of something that is not the shifting thread.
Tell me about this election for a speaker. I am quite excited for the prospect. Must one of the changelings be elected? Is there a process, a formal vote? How does this occur?
We will choose collectively. Each will put forth their ideas and priorities. Now that Zivox is gone, we will pursue his goals with different tactics. The one whom others agree to follow will lead.
Well, I couldn't help but notice there are quite a number of people that are following you, in a manner of speaking. Have you ever thought about volunteering yourself? Take a little jab at politics?
I am troubled by this, as I speak to you now with our newfound confidentiality and loyalty. I have considered this, but I fear I must preserve my humility to facilitate my role amongst them best.
Ah, yes. Don't shit where you eat. That's what my before papa taught me.
That is a strange sensation. As it is, I was not designed to shit.
Yes, same.
I'm sorry,
I didn't quite understand the phrase. I've only recently come into the second part of the phrase. The first is still a mystery to me, but I do understand that it feels fairly applicable here.
Flesh and steel, and yet we are truly cut from the same cloth.
And I'm sorry, Reg, what were you trying to say there?
No, I was just saying I think Reg agrees with I think his current papa would agree. Don't shit where you eat. At some point off screen, we're going to reveal that fact later on that Reg and And Reg agrees. That's good. That is sound advice.
Yeah, the one thing that he agrees with.
Ultimately, Lux and Reginald, you guys can get a long rest should you so choose. I think that Doc spends the evening talking with doppelgangers and changelings, watching over you, like keeping watch. Waffle kind of monitoring as A.D.A.M like stands at alert, dreaming other people's dreams in the basement. Nira did not successfully overturn the boat. It's not my fault. Kevin did it. I try. How many names do I have to remember for this guy? You know how many characters I got across these games? I love you, Kevin. I miss you, man. You're never going to watch this. So. So Nira did not successfully overturn Ben's boat, though Ben got very persnickety about all the rocking. But nonetheless, Nira and Ben and Kadras all just hanging out kumbaya on the boat, which has a cabin. So they're inside living up the good life. Ultimately, you guys can long rest. You get 1 level of exhaustion done. Lux, I don't know how many you had, if you had any.
I
didn't. Made all your saves.
I did make all my saves, so I didn't have any.
Can I just go back to slightly before we go to sleep?
Absolutely can.
And it's like really simple, unless she makes it not. But I think that like Reg would just like get in one of the cots or like sit in one of the cots next to. First of all, there's some real checking of the integrity of that cot before Reg sits down.
So also let me like preface this, like Lux goes up back to the top of like the fortress and like is up there for a significant amount of time before she like finds any sort of rest.
Well, then I think Reg goes back up to the top as well.
Yeah.
And I think we get out there. It's probably evening. And like I think he just kind of like slowly approaches her from behind in not a very stealthy way. And like stands maybe a little bit out of her view and waits for her to recognize that he's there, because he knows that she knows that he's there.
I think she like sniffs and like wipes at her eyes and then like does the like, she doesn't look, but she like does the head tilt, like come on, like come over.
And I think you just like feel an arm over your shoulder and just like pull you in to just like a warm, soft, pudgy embrace with a little bit of tweed.
Yeah, I think Lux, who has had
which is a great description of Reginald.
Long, pudgy hug with a little bit
a
of
warm,
tweed.
soft, pudgy embrace with a little bit of tweed.
Yeah, I think Lux has been sort of sitting, pondering, and like just can't help but can't stop thinking about the memories of Zvox, and like now less so is important that like he might have been her real dad, but the thing that's more painful is taking this very important person away from people who really knew him and everything that he was doing for them. And yeah, I think when like Reggie gives her a hug, she just kind of like wraps her arms around him as much as she can and just like starts really crying. But
she doesn't fall asleep. She cries it out upstairs. So there's like the heavy, and then like is the cut, the like fade away into the pair of you inside in the cots later, like laying yourselves down to go to bed.
Yeah, I guess so. There were rooms.
Yeah, there's like one big common room kind of, and then or they could like put you up somewhere else.
Then yeah, Lux will just like collapse in one of the cots.
So dare I say, but I think that as like A.D.A.M is down in the basement having this revelation of like, oh my gosh, wait, the world is exploding, and Lux and Reginald are down in the kind of like central room, about to like get some rest. I think Lux, like the sleep falls over you, the exhaustion washing away from your body. And I think that as A.D.A.M dreams of like wearing other people's prom dresses and flying through the stars, I think that Lux, you dream of like your childhood, the early days on the ships, of like playing with Doc the first time that Tam and Faye went to Homeworld and like took her with you on your journeys through the stars. And then I think that in like the late hours of the night, just before like you rise for the morning, you see the gleaming face, the red eyes, the little razor white sharp teeth against a field of blackness, like, you can cast me aside, but you bear me with you wherever you go now, Oath Maker. And that's where we'll leave our adventurers today. Oh! I hope this was at least enjoyable, you guys.
Oh yeah, this was so much fun. Oh my god, so dramatic. Perfect.
The drama.
Oh my god.
Yeah, seriously, Taylor, for swinging with all those pitches.
Thank you guys for hanging out. This was really fun for me. This was a good one. I hope it was like at least enjoyable and not too like talky like lore drop exposition.
Got it all, so I'm quite happy.
Reg, I'd like to roll something. I know we just
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can roll.
I want to roll a little bit of a wisdom save. And this is really my check to see if Reg is able to fall asleep.
Why? Because he's like so scared shitless about everything that's happened.
I mean, I think that that cut is like exactly where it ends, but maybe there's just like a brief like moment of like Reg laying on the cot with his hand and his eyes, and he's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
And it definitely with a 7, there's some like impaired ability to sleep.
I love the notion that like Lux collapses in exhaustion only to be like woken up by nightmares of like the magic trauma that she's imbued about herself. A.D.A.M is like vicariously living through other people's dreams while not sleeping at all, and Reginald is just laying in bed going through like crisis resolution.
So good.
Oh my god. You like so badly need your big brain partner in crime Doc here to like theory craft. Like, oh man. And then like Ben and Nira are like hanging out with the boat playing checkers, you know what I mean?
Holding
like,
a little bow.
The mental equivalent, you know those puzzles that are like the metal pieces that are like where you just like fidget with that, like it is very where it's just like
I hope that was satisfying for you guys. Yeah, that was like really interesting stuff. I didn't know how like deep we dig into everything. We didn't even get into it. I hope that wasn't too traumatic for you, Taylor. I really agonized about this one a lot because there was like the world where like originally I had conceptualized Zvox as like potentially somebody from Doc's past. But then I was like, this is too effed up and traumatic to like Melissa didn't opt into this. So like I'm not gonna put that trauma on her plate, you know?
Yeah.
But you on the other hand gave me a dad named Tim, and I just was like,
I did give you a dad named Tim. I should have like just I feel like in the beginning I really thought about it. We've been playing for long enough that like all those like ideas that I had in the very beginning are just like, you know, ingrained in like everything else that we've done. And I just totally didn't think about it until Brenna like reminded me.
Yeah, I hope
like,
it's okay that I've just like messed with your whole genealogy. And
no, it's amazing. I mean, hey, I'm descended from like space Jesus, so that's fun.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Tam's cool.
Maybe he'll rise again in 3 days. We don't know.
I love that Tam is like, I hated him.
Yeah. By the way, load off my back.
Wow, so Abby's finally gone.
Hey,
Listen,
thanks,
there's
mate.
good news for one of us today.
Cool. Well, that was super fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Doc would love that. Melissa, when you watch this back, I hope I made appropriate Doc choices. I'm sorry if she was too mean.
I've been live updating Melissa and Kevin because they both asked me to keep them updated. So
I'm excited to see the future adventures of Nira and Kadras.
Yeah, dude, I
Kevin
can't
just accumulates evil weaponry.
Hey, don't worry about it. I totally double bonded your bow, so you're probably good now.
Double bonded the bow.
That's what Nira's going to say when they're back next week. So, yeah, we will get off the freaking internet. Anything exciting you got going on, Mike? What do you got doing in the world that people should be paying attention to?
I'm doing a lot of ish. The things I'll say is like, hey, if you like freaky, fun, weird shit out there in the realm of television, there's a lot of fun stuff happening. Mrs. Davis is concluding on Peacock, and Silo on Apple TV Plus is getting started. Troy is a huge fan of Silo. He's cleaning. If you know, it's an inside joke from the show. You'd understand. But those are both
not so
really,
much of a spoiler. It's okay.
Yeah, but they're both really well done shows of completely different qualities, but still I enjoy them all the same. So I'm covering that mainly on post-show recaps. So yeah, if you're looking for more like sci-fi adjacent shenanigans to be happening on your TV screen, couldn't recommend those two shows more.
Very cool. How about you, Trey? Anything you want to hype up out there?
I mean, I'm gonna hype up Silo. You know, it's science high. Well, it's science low, so just Silo. But
it's science low.
It's science fiction, but minimal on the science. Yeah, I'm enjoying that show. What else do I want to hype up? Boy, this is my like new obsession recently is the TV show Couples Therapy on Showtime.
I saw you talking about
I've been hyping about this in the Discord, but wow, just really fascinated by that. And let's see here, any other good recommendations? Nope, that's it. We'll just leave it at that, and come watch us play D&D again next time.
Yeah, how about you, Taylor?
Yeah, I got another good recommendation. Go watch Willow.
Go watch Willow.
What is this?
Willow.
No, I'm playing.
I
know
wait,
the
for
Willow
real,
of
dude?
it all.
Did you somehow run the gauntlet of the last 8 months with
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Troy jumped off at every
dude.
point in time before Taylor had to do her
I
plan.
was like completely floored for a second. You really got me there, Troy.
No, I didn't
was like,
believe that
how
for
is
a
this
singular
possible,
second.
dude?
No.
Oh
Look,
my
that's
god.
not normally my type of humor, but you know.
Well, then I was like recalibrating to be like, how do I sell Troy on this like really quickly? Like, what's
Wow.
the Troy
That's
elevator
impressive
pitch
that
for
you are that much of a Willow stan.
I am, dude. I think it was like one of my favorite shows of last year. Amidst like really good TV,
Absolutely.
it
Yeah,
was
it was a good year.
unironically like very fun. It's just so freaking earnest, dude. It knows exactly what it is. It gives like no shits. If you don't like it, you're not gonna like it. But if you're in, you're gonna be like all in. It's very.
If you
very
like
fun.
Silo, you might like Willow, right?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
That
yeah,
What
sounds
you do is
great.
they did a sci-fi version of Willow, WILO.
It's D&D with a beautiful cast of characters who out of character, they love each other as friends outside of the show.
They don't murder each other's parents.
Yeah, they
they're
don't
really.
murder-
They're
well-
great.
No, that-
Anyway,
You can murder your own parents. That's fine.
in space.
In space.
You
Basically, you
marry
can murder your own parents.
anytime you want. Yeah.
Listen, Luke Skywalker did it.
I am just gonna get the hell off the internet now while we're on a high note. Bye.